President Trump and special government employee Elon Musk are making many different types of cuts to the federal government. They're moving fast, sometimes getting stopped in the courts, but all of this is taking some time to hit the public. Not everyone follows the news about everything, but it's really actually being lived now. And so over the weekend, we saw lawmakers confronted, even booed, as people experienced the reality of this part of the Trump agenda.
The DOGE program
what the government is doing right now as far as cutting out those jobs, a huge percentage of those people, and I know you care about the veterans, are veterans.
I yielded to one of my elders, and I appreciate his comments. I think it's a great, I'm not going to, we don't have time for everyone to stand up. God bless America. Thank you. Oh, wait.
A lot of people gathered there as the lawmaker seems to at least cut that conversation short. The anger is a reality for many Americans who've served their country as public sector workers. That includes people who happen to be Trump supporters. GOP leaders are telling members to avoid these town halls for PR or politics reasons. But of course, sooner or later, you're going to have to face the constituents, and this seems to be a very big issue. Americans are also protesting in any way they can figure it out. So when Vice President J.D. Vance was taking a ski vacation, he was greeted by a lot of outdoor protests, even in the snow, you can see there. Trump is also going to speak about his agenda in the first address to Congress of the second term. That's actually tomorrow night. Democrats planning protests and trying to spotlight the federal workers who've been ousted by these cuts. And there's a lot of talk about Musk's so-called efficiency.
To just kind of eliminate programs at random and eliminate employees at random does not achieve that goal.
These are nurses, these are park rangers. These aren't just people in DC buildings doing miscellaneous tasks.
I really worry about a future in which the federal civil service has been demonized and we don't have skilled workers in the federal civil service. And things start to happen like our parents and grandparents stop getting their Social Security checks.
That's what we're hearing from people who actually do the work. Elon Musk is not a full-blown cabinet member. We've reported on that. But he is a special government employee, and he is putting up numbers that increasingly are wrong, misstated, inflated, and give him kind of a worse track record than the sitting government, which, remember, is what he says he wants to improve upon. We've done some of these fact checks. There's a new one from the New York Times that for the second time in a single week, Musk's aides had to delete some of their claims of success because they weren't true. They cited contracts that were completed 20 years ago as things they were getting new savings out of, which was false. And the revisions meant that the final amount they'd actually cut was under $9 billion and far less than other claims. Now, Elon Musk is learning that apparently math is hard. Or as they say on the internet, the math ain't mathing. Because if your whole thing is that you're going to be efficient because you come out of business where you deal with hard numbers and then you keep putting out numbers that are wrong, you're giving out the impression that either you're a liar who doesn't care or an incompetent person who wants to change the federal government but is using bad data because you didn't realize it was bad. Either way, it poses big questions for what is an increasingly unpopular agenda. Welcome to both of you. Jason, how are these cuts doing out there in the country?
They're not doing well, and they're leading to these angry town halls. But, you know, what really concerns me, Ari, is when does this anger actually turn into something? We see crowds of people yelling at members of Congress, but most of these districts voted for Trump by 60, 70, sometimes 80-something%. So you can yell all you want. You can say, I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. You can yell any way you want at your member of Congress, but you probably just elected them. And unless we see some changes, perhaps in the special elections in Florida, up in New York, I think it's all just talk right now. People are uncomfortable, but they're not willing to change.
Fair. Professor Harrington, did you hear the Kendrick Lamar Euphoria reference that was tucked in there? Professor to professor.
I did. It's I
You did.
admire Professor
You did.
Johnson's wit so much.
Well, he keeps us on our toes. We're always listening. Professor, Jason says you're still in these red lands, and we still have to see how this plays out across the country. Given your expertise on sort of the intersection of capitalism and democracy in this country and others, what do you see at play here? Because we quite literally have a billionaire doing all this while, as I pointed out in the setup, getting caught with numbers that wouldn't work if you filed those in Wall Street and had those problems over and over. You'd be under an SEC investigation or worse.
What really strikes me as extraordinary here is Trump being totally AWOL on these issues. Like, he pops up occasionally like a jack in the box to, like, fire the trustees of the Kennedy Center and appoint himself the chairman of the board. But, like, he's letting Musk and Doge tank his poll numbers and tank the stock market. And those are Trump's favorite measures of his own success. If you compare what's happening now to Trump term number 1, it's like he's a different guy. And so the wheels are turning in my mind. Like, why? Why is he suddenly so docile and silent in the face of these attacks on his most treasured measures of success? And I don't know about you, but when I look at Trump, I see a man who doesn't want to be president, not in the sense of actually running the country on a day-to-day basis.
So with all of that, I want to get Jason's response and play one more piece from the town halls where the markets are volatile, the people are mad. This is sort of the mood of the week. Take a look.
There's been a mandate to the president from the American people. Am I correct? No. All right. Well, let's just back up. There's not a mandate by the American people who are overwhelming.
Jason.
Look, Trump ran the second time. Trump has always branded himself. I'm the chairman of the board. I'm the CEO. I'm supposed to be running things. He ain't the chairman of the board. Okay, he's not Sinatra. He's more like Dean Martin at this point, right? Like, he's not running anything. And that's also what's causing this backlash at a lower level. Because if the president were actually out there explaining to people what was going on, they'd probably tolerate it more. But instead, he seems to have abdicated all management, all communications to Elon Musk, and Musk is taking a hatchet to the federal government in a way that people are not just feeling now, but they're going to be feeling months and weeks from now. And frankly, Ari, I don't think the president cares, but I also think that Elon Musk has no political expertise one way or another, and they're leaving everybody out there to drown right now. I think Republicans and Republican voters, they don't regret their votes. I've never bought that argument, but they're concerned about them, and they're concerned about how they can justify what they've done.